All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Mega Knockout Mike. Tonight, we got a fun stream planned for you all today. We are talking everything Creed 3. This is our Creed 3 post-game show. So grab your drink. We are ready to talk this movie. All spoilers. So spoiler warning in effect here because it is a post-game show. You know, spoilers are going to come up. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you do care about spoilers, I would say go watch the movie first and then come back and just watch the replay on this one. But for those that are staying here, definitely thank you all for joining in. Now, I did have to make it members only chat tonight. I really debated back and forth about this one. But because so many trolls out there are going to spoil Scream 6, I didn't want any of my audience or panel members spoiled for that movie. And I just had to play it on the safe side tonight. So that's why it's members only. So members and moderators are going to be able to be in the chat. But if you do want to become a member, definitely go and look at that. You get some awesome exclusive content and some other perks as well. So definitely check those out. Or you can even do super chats and we'll definitely read those comments live. And I even kind of upgraded my StreamYard here. So I'll even play in some video clips from the trailer of Creed 3 just in celebration of your super chat if you do decide to do that. But let's go ahead and kind of get everything going here tonight. Remember to punch that like and subscribe, knock out the panel with those super chats, and definitely check out those memberships as I mentioned. But let's bring everybody out here. Let's not waste any time. We got the 4K lowdown in the house. How we doing out there, David?
Doing great, Mike. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great. Are you ready? You got your drink ready? You ready to talk some Creed 3?
Oh, yeah. I got my drink ready. I'm ready to go.
Oh, awesome. And then let's go ahead and bring out Excelsior movie reviews. Steve Ninja. How we doing out there, Steve?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
You got your drink ready too?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got water. Yeah.
Hey, you got to stay hydrated, okay? This is a boxing match out here, so it's very good. You ready to talk some Creed 3?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome. And then in a little bit, we are going to have a special guest join in tonight. But you guys already probably know who that is if you looked at the thumbnail. Oh, talking a special mystery guest here. Let's go ahead and bring him out. We got Bob in the house.
Sorry, I had to get some pants on.
Good idea.
Just for us, Bob? You put the pants on just for us? Oh,
the fancy stuff, dude.
We are flattered here tonight. Oh, my goodness. So how you doing out there, Bob?
I'm doing good. I just got home from Scream. I'm good to go. Friends couldn't make it, actually, so we're good. I'm good to go. I'm not in a rush.
Okay, all right. You ready to talk some Creed 3 then?
I am ready to talk some Creed 3. I got my Scream ghost face.
Ooh, there you go.
I got a Creed popcorn bucket there, too.
Ooh, so I got a popcorn bucket, too.
Oh, that's a different one. Yeah, we have a smaller one. But yeah, I'm and then I got my Scream poster in the car as well.
Oh, awesome. Oh, you got a poster?
It's a mini poster. Not mini, but it's not a one sheet.
Oh, I'll take a poster though. I mean, I asked my theater if they were giving out posters, but I think they ran out of them or just didn't have them.
And I do.
That would have been cool.
I want to say one thing about the whole private chat and members only and all that stuff. Sure. I understand both sides of it. I understand Mike's side and I appreciate it. And I also understand chat, people that can't chat, why they wouldn't want to watch a stream if they can't involve themselves. I completely get both sides. However, after last night's stream, it made me understand your point even more because I knew who the killer or killers were for Scream going into it. And my buddy looked over and was like, do you know who it is? And I said, I sure do. And it sucks. It sucks because it takes away the suspense. I still enjoyed it, but, I don't want that for anybody.
Yeah, and that's really made my decision because I was watching your stream last night, Bob, and when that came up, but I happily enough, I wasn't looking at all the comments, so I didn't catch it myself, but I'm like, oh my goodness, if I read that in the comments just as an audience member, I would have been so pissed. I would have been like, oh my God.
It sucks because like Mama Blu-ray's chatting right now.
Yeah.
Everybody that is in a chat is reading the comment section. Like you're reading what appears. You're just word for word. Like it shows as it shows, you read it. And when the first line is the Scream killers are ... like there's not much you can do to avoid that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's just kind of the online world we live in. There's always those trolls that try to get in there.
You're a host, so you understand the important. Like, you've got to go through the comments as you try to block them out, because it still appears on our end. The moderators do their job, guys.
Yep.
But it still appears on our end. So me and Mike as host, and Tim and everybody else who's hosting, is trying to get them out, and you're going through their comment section, but you got to read the names and what they're saying before you go blocking somebody.
Yep.
So I had to read them, and then I read it accidentally.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It's like a no-win scenario either way. So,
well, I want to say one more thing about the whole thing. So for future reference, for anybody watching right now, if you're hosting a stream ever, there are ways to do, I think I was communicating this with Tim last night. There's ways to put in what is flagged and what doesn't come across. So you can put scream in the word killers, and then anybody who puts that in the chat, it won't come through. You can also put it, I believe, to like subscribers only for more than 24 hours or something like that. So for everybody for the future, if you want to try to look into that, if you're ever hosting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Some good tips. So definitely thanks for sharing those, Bob. And I definitely had to make Mama Blu-ray a moderator. So that's why she's in the chat tonight. So thank you, Mama Blu-ray, for all the support. Hi, Mike. And then man, Bob.
Yes,
so I'm glad we got some Mama Blu-ray tonight.
I put pants on because I didn't want to turn her on too much. So I was like, I got to put some pants on, I got to keep it classy.
All right. So let's get right into these post-game questions here. Question 1, how did this movie compare to the other Creed movies for you in general? If you want to rank the Creed movies just real quick, just to kind of get a sense of how you feel about this one overall, let's do that right now. So 4K Lowdown, how did this movie compare to the other Creed movies?
Not bad. I have Creed 3 right smack dab in between 1 and 2. It didn't quite match up to 1 for me, but I felt it was better than 2 story-wise and cinematography. I actually liked some of the stuff that Michael B. Jordan did. So
yeah,
I have it firmly in between 1 and 2.
Oh, nice. And we'll definitely talk a lot about Michael B. Jordan tonight. Absolutely. Let's head over to Steve.
Yeah, I like the first one. I mean, the ones with the Stallone, Rocky. I like those the most, but I like Creed 3 quite a bit, but I'd say I probably liked it at least as much as Creed 2. And Michael B. Jordan did a great job, directing this movie. I thought the fight scenes were amazing. Sequences were really great. And some people said he's like an anime kind of fan, and some of the fight scenes kind of look like that. They had a different kind of look to them, and the shot with the Damien when he did the elbow to the guy's face, he did like something like MMA kind of stuff there that he was getting. I think he got points deducted for it, but it was like prison rules or whatever out there, But yeah, I thought he was a good villain. Overall, I liked Jonathan Majors quite a bit.
All right, nice, Bob. Now you're a big Creed fan.
Touch on that. He was inspired. He talked about it in an interview that anime was an inspiration for him, a heavy inspiration. So a lot of people have been talking about that, and I'm sure we'll get into the one fight at the end with the whole cage sequence thing.
We got a whole question just for the fights.
Yeah. Right. As far as I go, I'm with 4K to Lowdown here. I don't think it quite reached Creed's levels. However, I actually like this more than Creed 2 just a little bit. Okay. Michael B. Jordan's direction was incredible, and the dialogue was on point. And at no point in this movie, for not having a ton of fighting or action, this is a very character-driven movie, and I was not bored for one single second. I was totally invested, and I was actually on the edge of my seat during the fight scenes. Very well shot, like you guys said, because I don't always get like that, but I was like on the edge of my seats during these fight sequences.
Yeah. Right. And Mike you were close with your prediction in a way, almost there.
Definitely. We'll talk about that when we get to the story question here soon. Just to give you my general thoughts, I think I'm going to be in the minority opinion on this one. But I will start off before I get all the hate. I like the movie. It's a good movie. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Now
I know where you're going.
Now in comparison, well, Creed 2 is a masterpiece. So you're not going to get the Creed 2 level. Creed 1 is great. I love Creed 1. So it's definitely my least favorite out of the Creed movies. And I will even go a step farther. It's almost my least favorite out of the Rocky movies. The only thing Rocky versus Drago, that cut of the movie, I hate that movie. Get that one out of here. But I will put this at the bottom of all the Rocky movies as well. But it's still good. I love all the Rocky movies, so take that for what you will. But yeah, that's my thoughts. But I'm glad you guys liked it so much. This is great. All right, let's head over to this next question here. What did we think of the characters here? We had a lot of good characters in this one. So, Bob, I'll have you start this question off.
Yeah, obviously there's Rocky's missing. I think it's very obvious that you don't necessarily need Rocky in here, and I'm sure we'll get into that later on as well. But I would have liked, to more mention of Rocky. There was, I think his name was only dropped once.
One time.
However, I really like Tessa Thompson. I like the daughter a lot. I thought the daughter was really good.
Sweet.
She's really deaf in real life, so that was excellent finding that. And I watched a couple interviews after this movie, and they interviewed her, and they talked a lot about with Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson and getting a real deaf actor and kind of showing respect to that. I thought that was done so well, and the movie really opens with that. Like not opens, but you know what I'm saying. I really like the characters. I like the new characters that we get. The new boxer that he's kind of a heavyweight champion. He doesn't look like one.
No,
watching him, but
he looks
I thought he was a pretty good actor. I thought he did a good job. I've seen him in other movies. I love Jonathan Majors in this. He's great. He's excellent. But yeah, I think everybody was really well written too. Like, I was really digging this movie, and I'm honestly really excited to rewatch it again already when it comes to 4K.
Oh, nice. And then Steve, what did you think of these characters? I know you already started to mention them a little bit.
Yeah, I like Damien a lot. The way they ended the movie, like it seemed like that storyline may have been over. It didn't look like there was going to be like, I don't know how they come back with in Creed 4, how they would do that. With it seemed like they kind of apologized and seemed like things were kind of good at the end there. So it doesn't seem like Jonathan Majors would come back for a fourth one. So I guess there'd be a different villain in the next one if they have a next one. It seems like it's making money, so it seems like it should be able to make a fourth one. But we'll see how that goes.
All right, and David.
Okay, so first I got exactly what I expected from Jonathan Majors. And the key is no matter what he says, no matter how he says it, you can see behind his eyes that something's going on. And I love that about him. No matter what role he's playing in, there's always something under the surface that you're like, okay, wow. When he's Kang or whatever, you're like, whoa, okay, there's something going on with this dude. Amara, the daughter, she was awesome. She was a gem on the show. I loved her in this. And it absolutely just hit me. I was like, wow, she was great. I really liked that they brought back Pretty Ricky Conlon and they brought back Drago, and the friendship between Drago and Adonis. Really kind of, I was like, okay, I'm liking that. I wanted more of it though in the movie. But all in all, I'm with Bob and Steve. I liked the characters. They're really well drawn out. Nothing was thrown away as far as characters go. So the ones that didn't matter. And then the ones that mattered all the way through. And that's what I liked.
Oh yeah. I mean, these characters were excellent for the most part. I really liked most of them. Of course, Jonathan Majors to me was a standout. I mean, the best Creed villain of all time. And I really liked Drago. I thought Drago was a great villain in Creed 2. So it was great to see him back again. And I didn't expect to see him too much in this movie. So he had a bigger part than actually what I was expecting. And to see that, kind of friendship between them, I thought that was really interesting. Tessa Thompson, second favorite character of the movie. I think she's going to be overlooked by some, but she was so good. Like, she was the heart of the movie to me, and just like kind of the the backbone support of Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis Creed. So Tessa Thompson, excellent in everything she does. She was perfect here. And then you guys were mentioning the daughter too. Like, I didn't think we were going to get a lot of the daughter in this movie, but we got a good amount of the daughter in here. and she had some great moments with Adonis Creed and everything like that. So like looking at the videos and everything, looking at the fights and all that, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, she was great in it. It might be for like future setup purposes, which we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, everybody was really, really solid. I will say Michael B. Jordan, actually, even though I think he was good overall, I'd probably say he was one of the weaker parts acting talent wise. Just, I mean, you're going up against Jonathan Majors, you're going up against Tessa Thompson, and then you have the burden of doing all the directing stuff too, which definitely is going to weigh on your shoulders a little bit. You're wearing a lot of hats. So maybe that's why it was, but I felt in some scenes that he was a little bit, lower level, I guess you would say, than the other actors. But that's just because other actors are some of the best actors, in my opinion. But that's how I felt.
I thought he was really good too. I genuinely thought he was great. And in an interview, Jonathan Majors talked about like having to come after him and beat the hell out of him, and then like Michael B. Jordan having to like put on another hat and direct. And he would go back and watch the shot, like the clip, and he would ask Jonathan Majors to watch it, but Jonathan Majors never watches his own footage. So I did not know that, but he refused to watch to see how the shots turned out, like the scenes turned out. So Michael B. Jordan had to like figure out if it was good enough or not. So he wouldn't check it out and be like, yeah, I like it, I don't like it. So I obviously I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan, but I thought he did a really freaking good job.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think he did good. Don't get me wrong. I just think in comparison to everybody else, he's working with so much great talent around him. I just felt like it was a little bit of a difference there. And yeah, so like I said, characters here are really solid. No problem with any of the characters for the most part, except we'll talk about this in the story when we get to it. But yeah, let's move on to this third question here. What did we think of the story? Since I know we already started kind of mentioning bits and parts to this one. Let's go, Steve. Let's start with you. What did you think of the story here?
Yeah, kind of the beginning of the story. I didn't love the way that went down necessarily. It was kind of predictable. He just pulled out a gun on this Leon character that they really didn't give. I don't know if they gave much backstory on him. Maybe he's been some of the other films. I don't know, but it just seemed to kind of pop up there. And like I said, it was strange how in the movie that Jonathan Majors is supposed to be older than Michael B. Jordan's character, even though in real life they're like Michael B. Jordan's like, was he 6 years or so? He's older than Jonathan Majors in real life, like by 4 or 5 years in the movie. So that and I thought it was kind of odd how Jonathan Majors could get like a title shot just because Jonathan Majors had like one of his prison mates take out Drago, and then I didn't quite catch the story how he was able to. One guy was injured and how he was able to get a title shot, without any fights at all. I guess he was a semi-pro when he was younger, but how he got a title shot like that, it was kind of iffy a little bit there. But
I agree, Steve. That felt a little weird to me too.
Yeah. But I did love the fight scenes. I thought those were some of the best shot fight scenes I've seen. And like we talked about earlier, the anime kind of look was a different kind of take. And I love that the shot where they're in the ring, just having it at was it Dodger Stadium, outdoor fight there, and when they're fighting, and then all of a sudden the whole crowd kind of disappears and it's just them. I thought that was kind of an artsy kind of look there. That just
I've never seen anything like that in my life in a movie. So whether I loved it or I didn't, I still don't know. But I appreciate them doing something different.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like I said, I love the way the story ended. You knew that the Michael B. Jordan's character was he was, I guess he kind of saw that he was going to win there. But he took a back seat the whole movie, and then for the most part to Jonathan Majors, and then in the end, maybe because he knew how it was going to end. That he didn't want to be out front the whole time. He was kind of reluctant to get into the ring. And then finally decided to get in there. And I thought it was interesting how the final fight scene kind of seemed to come really fast to me, even though the movie's like 2 hours long.
The montage is a little shorter. Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like it had a good pace to it, and it kind of got to that final showdown there in the ring. But I like the way that kind of ended up though. But yeah, I enjoyed it though overall.
Even though you can, I guess, predict Michael B. Jordan Creed winning that fight, I didn't. Watching that movie, I still like. That's what's great about not being spoiled. I didn't know if he would win that fight. I truly didn't know. I at no point in that fight did I feel I was still on the edge of my seat. And you know how sometimes when you could predict something, you're not quite on the edge of your seat the same way. Well, I was down the edge of my seat during that fight.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. What else do you want out of that? No, you're good. You're good. What do you think of the story?
Yeah, I actually really like it. The way the beginning absolutely takes off from them as children. I'm not so in love with movies when they do it where they start you with the storyline and then get to it later. I'm usually not in love with that. So that might have been a slight flaw for me. But when they get back to it, when he's telling his wife, he's finally opening up to her. That's a great scene too. Oh, that's such a good scene. So well written and everything like that, because that's relatable to any man and wife out there or anybody in real life, like, can relate to that, and men not being able to open up and stuff like that. So that was awesome. That's super relatable and stuff like that. But I love the way they get back to it at the end. And I think there's a song playing over it. And that's when gets knocked down by Drago and he's like sitting there. And I love that. I know the montage might not have been the greatest comparison, but when he's sitting in the corner after Drago knocks him down, he's just like, he's a bitch. Like he's garbage now. And he's like sitting there. And I think that's when Creed remembers all the stuff and goes back. And I was almost in tears at that scene. It was just so good. And watching him get knocked down and have to go through that. So instead of having the same montage of him in the first and second, just being like, perfect training montage, he's going through it, it's going well, he gets knocked down. And like, we question as an audience, how's he going to come back? And it's realistic because he's been out for 3 years or whatever. And so watching him get knocked down, the way the story comes together, I really like the way it comes together. And then having them fight. I like that he didn't fight him first, because that would have been the same thing as Creed 2. So I like that it was different. I somehow like it's, and we talked about this in the first episode, to be able to still, if not for me and 4K Lowdown at least, make this better than the second one is impressive as fuck. Like, because we're working with a boxing movie. How do you do that? Creed manages to do it 3 times. Like, and we get 5, 6 Rocky movies before this. So it's impressive. And I think we're going to get a 4th potentially. I don't know, but this was a good wrap up either way. And it's exciting to know that he did. I'm just so excited for Michael B. Jordan. I'm looking forward to the future. Obviously he had a good script in hand, but his direction was really good too.
All right, David, how do you feel about this story?
Good.
I'm like, moving on.
These guys said all of it, and
I got some stuff to say.
I don't have much I can add, except I did like I did like some of the risks that Michael B. Jordan took
as a director,
and with the way he did the story, because I could tell he was trying stuff. There was some different stuff. Now I got like a Sherlock Holmes feel with that first boxing match. How is slow motion and they're doing this and that, and I really like that. And then how the second, the last boxing match kind of changed a little bit, and I could definitely see the anime feel there. As far as just the story as a whole, I liked how it came together. I do think that how do I want to put it? They not that they jumped ahead, but they kind of threw stuff in a little bit. And it's probably one of my weaker points of this. It's still solid. I gave the story a 7, but I think that there were a couple things that were missed in the story because they wanted the movie to be tight. So, and this is why, some of the things that you questioned, Mike, with the all of a sudden he's got a title shot and this and that. I think that's kind of stuff they needed to just kind of accelerate a little bit. So they said, okay, we're gonna put this, and this together and make it seem like okay. And with Michael Jordan's guilt, with Adonis's guilt, he was like, oh, I have an idea. Maybe we give this guy a shot. And it was just a way that they could like accelerate the timeline a little bit.
So I wanted to touch on that, and I apologize, David. But when you guys said that, if you make that, like he said, if you don't accelerate it, then it comes into either a TV series or a 5-hour movie. But the only thing that makes sense out of that you could justify making sense is the fact that Creed had so much power. That's how he was able to make that happen. That's the way I look at it, is that he could just make that happen because he had so much power, I guess, as the producer or whatever, manager or whatever.
Yeah. But to your point, Bob, when you were talking about the turn, and by the turn, that was the point in the training where Adonis realizes what's going on and the headgear comes off, and he's like fuck this, let's go, and then everything changes. The music changed along with it, got more intense. It got more exciting, and you're like, okay, I'm seeing.
I was ready to go, man.
Okay, I'm bouncing in my seat, going, that's what I wanted to see, and I like that it started out like, what the hell's gonna happen? This, he's gonna get his butt kicked, because they start out, here's all your injuries. How many concussions do you have?
Broken hand,
your shoulders fucked up, your ribs are fucked up, your legs messed up. You probably have one toe that works. I don't know how they did it. Your eyebrow fell off, whatever they said, but through the whole thing, that kind of probably shot Adonis down a little bit to where he was like, am I going to be able to do this? I retired for a reason, and now I've got to come back because this is my fault. and I got to straighten this dude out. And so yeah, it was that little bit of hesitation. And yeah, for a little bit, I wasn't sure if he was going to win or not until that point. Once that turn happened, then I knew, okay, I knew how the fight was going to go. But yeah, all in all, I thought the story was solid. It wasn't my favorite part of the movie, but they made some good points and they made some bad points there.
Yeah, you see, Jonathan Majors, Damien lost a tooth, or was it at least one tooth, or maybe more?
Yeah,
when he took his mouthpiece off.
Mouthpiece is all.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that was rough.
Yeah,
that happens.
He spit that out, and the blood. I love the way they clip all that, edit that together too. The way they
mouthpiece didn't come out that easily.
We'll definitely talk about that once we talk about
that. Was in the beginning, first fight against the current heavyweight champion, right? When he pulled it out.
When he fought Felix.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys were saying a lot of positives of the story, so I don't probably have to say too many positives here, but I will say there was a lot of risk taken here. Some of them worked. To me, some of them didn't. And I think, Bob, you pointed out something that I really didn't like about the movie, right? You talked about his power, how much power Adonis Creed has. I did not like that. I felt he was way overpowered in here, especially bringing back Pretty Ricky, and he beats Pretty Ricky. Then he's all like buddy with Drago. And then by the ending of the movie, he takes out Damien, and then he's all buddy with Damien. It's like, to me, he was just way overpowered throughout the entire movie, especially like he retired for, a few years or whatever, and he still comes back and beats Damien, who's supposed to be hungry and ready to go. I wasn't believing it. I didn't buy into it as much. So I think that's what wasn't working for me. I'm just like, he's buddy with everybody. I don't want him to be buddy. Like, you just got into a boxing match, like you were fighting for your life and all that good stuff, and then you're just buddy by the end of it. Like, Damien just seems to be cool and fine with it. Like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I was kind of being, prick. I got it. I don't like that buddy
Creed, man. Mike is coming hard after Creed 3.
I like Creed 3. I'm gonna buy the 4K steelbook. I'm gonna watch it 100 times. I like Creed 3.
Damn, I'm like,
I gotta give negatives, okay?
Me and Mike are gonna be the next heavyweight match if he keeps coming after my boy Michael B. You know what's funny? Mike, like we talked about this in the first episode, though. Who was it? Was it Steve and I said it? We appreciate when you show respect to your opponent afterward. So I like that, actually. So everything you didn't like, I liked. Everything I liked.
I'm okay with the respect, but it's just like they're so like chill now. Like, okay, like in the Rocky movies, it was never that way. And I know Creed's different. It's going to be a different story. But like when Rocky and Drago were done fighting, they hated each other for the longest time. Okay. It's like, it just seems like Creed is like cool with everybody right after. Doesn't take too long to be cool with everyone. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
But Rocky became good friends with Apollo Creed. And,
and I'm okay with it doing it like once, but for like every single of your opponent, like it feels like every opponent Creed is now cool with.
Do you remember the same actor? I think he fought Felix for the title, or either because he fought Felix because Creed rematched Pretty Ricky Conlan. So was that the same actor? It did not look like it. The same actor from Creed 1 that he was supposed to.
That was Conlan?
No, the one that fought Felix in the beginning.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Do you guys hold on? Because I'm all like, God, it's funny.
You gotta look it up.
I've only seen it once, so
you miss things, you forget things. Because he in Creed, the first one, he says, "Whoever knocks me down gets this Mustang." He fought him in the beginning.
Willer, right? It wasn't that.
And then he's like
Willer, right? From Creed 2 as well, or no?
Oh God,
I think so.
Maybe that was Creed 2.
Yeah, the guy that won the keys.
I'm all screwed up.
Yeah, are you mixing up Creed 2 and Creed 3 now? I feel like
you know what? I'm all messed up, but whatever. But the same actor did play Pretty Ricky Conlan. Okay.
Yes.
I'm all messed up.
You know what? I will give some positives, though.
There's not a friendship there.
What?
There's not a friendship there, Mike. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
And Conlan, not friends.
Not a friendship. He says, thanks for the fight. Thanks for the rematch. Or something like that.
I didn't want him to beat Pretty Ricky. He was just beating everybody. It feels like he could beat on Pretty Ricky now. He can beat on Drago now. He can beat on Damien now.
Yeah.
Like,
what did you guys think of that fight sequence with him where he keeps taking shots and he's like, I know. I like that because it showed how smart of a fighter Creed had become, not just fist and stuff like that. He became somebody who had a huge IQ as a fighter.
Yeah, it wasn't just fist and heart like it was in the first two. It was now I've gone cerebral. I know, and here's the thing, the whole checkmate thing. That was something that was brought up in that first match, and that leads back to Damien and his thing. But yeah, I enjoyed that fight and how Adonis played that. But then later on they were talking about how Ricky Conlan was a has-been and he was kind of on his last leg anyway. So they made it look like it should have been an easy match.
Yeah, I was thinking of Creed 2, by the way. They get jumbled together and you forget things, and I watched all three like back to back, so don't start with me.
Yeah, no worries. I will say the part of the story I did really like was the background, like the flashbacks I thought were excellent. I thought that was really cool just to see like Damien's characters and Creed's relationship and how they grew up and all that. And like Creed running away, like, I got to get out of here, and Damien.
I love
and all that
sequence.
I thought that worked really well.
Running down the street.
Yeah.
And that's the training montage scene, right? That's the flashback he has in that moment, I think. Correct or no?
I don't know.
I think he has the flashbacks during the training scene, and that's kind of when he's running.
Flashbacks during the training.
Yeah, and I think he's running down the street.
One thing when he's running away
in the middle of the street,
running on the bridge. Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, I like those flashbacks.
That's when he's sitting in the corner, and that's when he realizes, like,
when the headgear comes off.
And I was like, man, I freaking love that scene, dude. Love that scene.
Yeah, the flashbacks were done well, and then Bob, you were mentioning the stuff with Tessa Thompson and all that with like how you don't want to tell like your significant like something and all of that. Like everybody can relate to that, so that totally worked. Oh, also, we forgot to mention the mom, Mama Creed, right? I thought that was a really powerful, emotional moment.
Felicia
And we
Rashad.
usually need that in a Creed Rocky kind of movie.
Yeah,
So
that had to happen. There had to be a lot.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And it had to be personal. And that was what set that whole thing in motion.
Why did I forget about that?
Felicia Rashad, she did a good job.
We didn't talk about it, I guess. So we forgot it. I didn't forget about it. I just
Yeah,
you could see that coming. I mean, she said she's had a stroke before, and she kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah.
They wanted to end that storyline,
Yeah, it definitely was foreshadowed. And you're like, okay, that's what's going to happen. That's the Mickey element. That
gotta have one of those. Yeah,
you gotta have one of those to kind of.
You got a super chat there. You see that?
Oh, we got a super chat in the house. Oh, wow. Okay. We gotta see the super chat. Tiana loves movies in here. Oh, thank you so much. Tiana loves movies. Have an awesome stream, guys. I'm off to watch Creed 1 and 2 to get ready for tomorrow. Well, that is absolutely amazing. I hope you enjoy all of those movies.
Creed.
Yes. And just for you, playing that, I don't know. I'm gonna play some trailer clip right here.
You see that man right there? Do you remember him?
Yeah, I don't know if that related to anything with a super chat, but I'm just playing around with this new StreamYard I upgraded to. So there we go. But thank you so much.
Oh, you just upgraded StreamYard.
I did. So I got these video clips to play with. So
okay. Yeah. I see the Mega mic in the corner right there.
Oh yeah, we're in HD now. We got a background, we got a little icon going.
Yep.
We high tech around here now.
Which one did you pay for? Did you pay for the high one?
Oh, I went through the high one, and I paid for the whole year. I'm like, let's go
He's
all
paying
out.
1080p right here, man. I don't even pay for that one. I do the
high definition
one. I can't afford that. Mike's baller right there, like Creed money.
Hey, we got some good super chats last time, and that's what I tell the audience. If you guys do those super chats, those super thanks, memberships, all that goes back into the channel. So I like to repay you guys, giving you guys more cool content. So
yeah, David, I'm sorry I cut you off there. I just saw that.
Steve's looking quite HD over here. I'm looking at Steve. I'm like, he's looking a little 1080p.
Yeah.
I've got a face for radio, so I had to push my camera back a little bit.
Right.
All right. So you guys were already kind of mentioning this, but talking about the montages and fights here, David, you want to start with this one?
Sure. Okay. There's only 2 real boxing matches, and I would have liked more, but the 2 that they had were awesome, really well done. There was a lot of training. There was a lot of training going on from both Damien and Adonis, but the montages themselves were quick. There wasn't there wasn't a lot of deal with that until the turn happens with Adonis, and then you get that montage where he's just, doing the ropes and doing all the stuff. And then you get the cuts, almost like how Rocky 4 is, where it keeps switching between Damien and Adonis, and they're doing their things where Damien's knocking fools out, and Adonis is working on his speed and his quickness and stuff like that. So I did dig it, but there was less than I expected with the montages, and less than I expected with the fights. And I expected that last fight not to skip 7 rounds in the middle.
I hated that.
With the whole cage thing. I can't say whether I loved it or not, but it's different. And that's what I liked about it. It was a different thing, but then all of a sudden it's round 11.
Yes.
Round 8. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? It was like 1 round went by with this, where they were by themselves in this universe. And then all of a sudden it's round 11.
Yeah, that was taking me so much out of the movie. I was like, what is going on right now?
I enjoyed it, but I would have liked that to be like rounds 9 and 10, and maybe have some more stuff going on in the earlier rounds.
I really want to touch on that, because I was telling Steve, I don't know what to make of that. So I really loved this movie, okay? And I don't have much to complain about. I still haven't figured out how I feel about that scene, because I appreciate you doing something different.
Yes.
And
I appreciate the risk.
Yes, and it's totally different. I've never seen that in a boxing match, and I understand the idea of these two are in a universe of their own. I understand that. But what I didn't like is it took me out of the fight a little bit. I went from being on the edge of my seat to slightly losing that edge, that suspense. I kind of was like, for 5 or so minutes or 3 minutes that it lasted, probably not even that long. I did not like that I appreciate something different. I just did not like that it went from second round to round 11. And I was like, wait,
it was like round 3 to round 11 in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just, oh, okay.
And I know every boxing movie, they skip rounds. They might show a couple clips from each round. But this like totally just took us. I felt like actually took us slightly out of the fight. If that was one round, I thought we were coming back to round 3 or 4 when that ended. I was like, okay, but this just, I thought it went on a little too long. And then when it did finally end, we were in the final round.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to piggyback on what you said.
No, for sure. And I want to jump in right here because this was probably my least favorite fight out of any Creed Rocky movie, just because I wanted it to be a longer fight. Like you guys are mentioning, like, let's go the max amount of rounds. Let's see all of that. And I'm okay with a different artistic choice if it works really well. But in this case, I thought it was more on the artsy fartsy side. And I don't think it worked well because I was excited. The crowd was cheering. I was into this fight. Like, let's go, pushing it to the metal. And then I'm like, it came up and I'm like, what's happening? Like, do I go take a break now? Do I go grab some popcorn? Like, I was so out of the movie. Eventually I got back in once we got to it, but then it was over so quick. I wasn't digging that fight, but I did really like, his name was Felix, right?
Yeah.
I love that fight. Seeing Damien fight dirty and making him different in his fighting style, breaking all the rules. I thought that was a great creative direction to go, and I really like that. I'm like, we've never seen a boxer do that before, just doing dirty fighting. I love the dirty fighting.
And his coach told him, he said he's fighting against the world, or he's not fighting. What did he say? He's not boxing.
Trying to hurt the world is what he said. He's trying to hurt the world.
He's trying to hurt the world. He's not fighting in here. He's trying to hurt the world out there.
He's not boxing. He's not doing it for sport. He's trying to hurt. He's trying to hurt people.
That was so good. Damien was so good in this movie. Jonathan Majors,
and you can attribute that in part, Mr. Michael B. Jordan hater over here, to Michael B. Jordan's direction.
Who said I hate Michael B. Jordan?
I'm just giving you
like Michael B. Jordan. Okay,
he was the weakest point of the movie, and he was director.
I didn't say
he's
directing.
I like really good directing.
No, I think his directing was way better than his acting. I was saying his acting, I think, was at a lower.
I'm gonna fight you dirty like Mike. Like
I know you're gonna come after me like
get an elbow. Get an elbow to the cheek.
But I mean, those were great fights, and you guys were mentioning even like with the bloody, with the the tooth falling out and all of that. Like that was way different and so cool and like just gross.
I did like that. Felix got a sandwich. It wasn't like Damien just rolled over him. It was the dirty fighting that did it. But Felix got a sandwich. He actually did some damage, and I thought that was probably the best fight.
Oh yeah, I love that fight. And it was great to see just kind of how Damien Mine was thinking. Like he really was plotting things out in the movie. And just for the story overall, he was kind of like the mastermind character. And you didn't really expect it. He like reminded me of Glass from Unbreakable, like thinking of everything in the background, that mastermind. I loved it. It was great.
Can we talk about the first time we like this? Damien,
you're frozen, Bob.
Yeah, that's a little George Foreman. That's a little George Foreman action.
I've never seen that. Yeah, I guess we're getting that new George Foreman movie, but very excited about that.
We'll see that
because George Tillman, which is my guy, is directing that, and I cannot wait to see that because everything he's ever touched, I love. But what the hell? I've never seen this before. Like he was like pushing the blocks with his hands. It was just a very unusual, unorthodox sense of fight, like way to fight that we've never seen. Nobody ever fights like that anymore. In any boxing movie I've ever watched, nobody has ever fought like that. I don't know about Southpaw, Rockies,
Yeah, it was way different. Way different.
Yeah, never seen that. I was so taken aback by that.
Yeah, we saw how small Felix was. He looked like more like a middleweight than a heavyweight to take on somebody like Jonathan Majors in the ring.
Yeah, compared to Damien, yeah, he looked small.
Yeah, I love some of the montages with Rocky or with Creed, and he had the plane on his back, and he's
a
lot of the uphill stuff. You know,
he actually
the tree was great. I love him punching the tree. That was awesome.
He was interviewed and he said he pulled a plane. He really pulled a plane. Like that was a real plane he was pulling.
I can believe it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know how they were gonna do those montages different, because you think back to all the Rocky movies, you're like, have they done everything? Like he was running in the desert, he was, punching in a pool. Like, what else can he do? Well, running up the mountain, punching a tree, pulling a plane. Like, I'm like, oh, so creative and different. I love it. Very cool. But I would have liked more montages, right? I think I would have taken some more. That was the only montage, right? Was there any other montages?
Yeah, with Creed especially, yeah. I mean, there's some fight like training moments with Felix and even Damien boxing, but there's no montage like training scene.
Yeah, I'm always a heavy montage person. That's why I think I like Rocky 4. You got a lot of those
montage. I'm telling you, there was two scenes that made me the training montage when he takes the headgear off. I was ready to go, but I was like, me and Mike, that's it. I'm ready. But also the fighting scene, the final match before they went into the cage or whatever, the first 2 rounds,
they're great.
When Creed gets beat in the first round, but then he comes back out in the second round, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I was ready. I was like, that's it, let's go. Gloves are off. And I was excited.
Go back and forth. Yeah. That's what I was hoping. And and then they pull this
Shadow Realm
once again, which is really creative, and even the art behind it in the way it's shot is incredible. But I felt like maybe make it shorter or in the middle of the fight or something. I felt like it takes us out of the fight, so you got to make that shorter. And I felt like it was pretty dragged on.
Yeah, I
noticed in the crowd in the theater, it took them out of the fight too. I listened because as you could hear the stirring and stuff with the crowd, with the people in the audience, and how they were kind of cheering a little bit. And then when that sequence happens, the whole theater got quiet. And, my wife leans over to me and she goes, is this supposed to be happening like this? And I go, I don't know, dude. I've never seen this happen before in a Rocky franchise movie or any boxing movie. But like I said, I appreciate the risk. I don't think it worked all the way. I completely agree with Bob that should have been a shorter sequence and probably in the middle, or maybe like rounds 9 and 10, take those out of play and maybe do that little thing and make it like a minute long and then come back and do the last round. But I think they should have done more middle round and early round stuff. They were going back and forth.
You know what? I would have even taken that as another fight entirely. If they could have put another fight into the movie and do that whole sequence with it, a shorter one, I would have taken that and then just have it play out that final fight through all the rounds like normally you would expect. I would have took that. But
yeah, I think in the Rocky movies they would show like the rounds on a card. Even
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They'll show clips of some punches, but they never. So even in every boxing movie, they'll have the woman in her bikini or whatever come by with the scorecard, round 5, round 6, and you see it in the blood and the corner and all that stuff. But it never completely. I never really watch any boxing movie where they go from round 2 to 11. Now this didn't necessarily do that, but it really did basically go from 2 to 11 because we don't see scorecards, we don't see coaches, we don't see them in the corner. It's really, and that's why I was so confused too, because that's all one scene. There's no corner, there's no bell, there's no. So when we came back, I'm like, okay, that was one round. That was the one round they're going to show it. Like I was cool with it, and we'll get back in round 4 or whatever. No, we went straight to round 11 with the double punch there, and they come back like, holy cow, I've never seen anything like that. But I'm like, what did we miss? That's what I wanted to know. I'm like,
there's going to be a director's cut now.
Why did we get this metaphoric sequence when the actual fight probably was more entertaining, especially. As long as it was. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
it was.
The announcers are all excited, and I'm sitting here like, what did we miss?
Yeah. I mean, it's just those creative, like new director choices, right? Michael B. Jordan, he wants to stand out, right? He's directing, he wants to do something really impressive. And sometimes that can kind of take a hold of you, and you don't always make the best decisions with that, even though it's a really cool, creative, different, artistic decision. Like you all were saying, it doesn't necessarily play out the best. But some stuff I did like, I think you guys might have mentioned it, was like that bullet time stuff with the punches and then like the sweat flying off. I thought that really worked. I don't know. Did you guys really like that? I thought that was awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, I thought that worked.
Especially that one punch to the stomach.
Oh, that was so cool.
You saw his spine reach back and the
so that Damien's fist was going to go through Michael B. Jordan's back.
It was going to be like this, and the heart's like right there.
Some lady in the theater, some lady went, "Oh," like they were showing his back, like his back was going to, like his fist was going to go through his back or something. Like
oh, that was awesome.
Cheesy kung fu movie or something. Wow.
So Steve, let's hear your thoughts on these montages and fights. What do you think of them?
Well, like I said, I really like the Damien Felix fight the most. Just how the fight really got out of hand. You can see Michael B. Jordan's Creed getting really nervous about it because this Felix is his guy, and his friend, former childhood friend is really beating him up, and like it's not supposed to go this way, so that, and then obviously the montages like we talked about, the Creed carrying the plane and going uphill, and Damien doing the high chin ups, whatever, and that kind of stuff. I like those montages quite a bit, but I like that fight with Damien and Felix the most.
Oh yeah, so good. All right, question 5 here. What was your favorite scene or moment from the movie? That's probably going to be different for everybody right here. Bob, what was your favorite? One moment you get to pick. It's a tough one. What's the most impactful moment to you, or memorable moment?
There's a couple, but honestly, I'm gonna go with, and I am not a necessarily big character-driven guy. Okay, it's hit or miss. It all depends on how the dialogue is and how well directed it is a lot of times, okay? And this is a very character-driven movie with a ton of dialogue versus all the other Creed and Rocky movies. So I didn't know how that would work for me. But because of its direction, how good the dialogue was, I was not bored at any point. There was every scene between Michael B. Jordan, and you could see this in interviews. Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson's chemistry is out of this world. It is so good. And they have had it since Creed 2, and Creed 3. And every single scene they're in, and I can't believe I'm saying this for a boxing movie, but they stole it. Like their dialogue, that one scene where he opens up to her and talks to her and he's in tears and she's finally getting him to open up. I was so invested in that scene. That is one of my favorite scenes. And then also when he's yelling and he's like, I can't remember what he says, but he yells and then he looks to his left and his daughter's there. And she's like, you better get it together.
Because he was like, I don't want to talk about it.
And he was like, I love you. He whispers, and that scene, just like every scene between him, his wife, and daughter, it was that worked for me. I swear that stole the show. But the training montage is probably
very good.
But I'll go with, as far as favorite scene, I guess, as far as entertainment value, when he takes the headgear off. And because I told you I was ready to stand up, I was ready to fight the guy next to me or something. I was like, I need somebody to fight. Let's go. But all jokes aside, that was it just fired me up. That was like, gloves are off, so to speak. He's like, that's it. I got to get back here. And I think that was a moment, like 4K Lowdown here has talked about so many times, but the tables turned for him, but it helped him. I think he had to go through that because he was fighting with the training wheels on, so to speak. And when he took that off, it was like, he's dirty. Not only is he dirty, but if I keep fighting with the training wheels on, I'm going to get my ass kicked. And it was like, we got to go to war. Like we got to battle. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. Like I am old and I love that. The script flips.
Oh yeah. And just to go off of that, Bob, like my favorite moment is when Duke is talking to Creed and he's like, you're boxing out there. I need you to fight now. It's time to fight. I'm like, ooh, I love that. That's like my favorite
round 11
dialogue. Oh, so good.
Or whatever. Yeah, is there 11 rounds? It goes 11 rounds.
12.
Okay.
Oh, I love that scene. And then probably the other one for me was just with the montage above the Hollywood sign, just screaming. Yeah. Oh, the Hollywood part just looked amazing in the movie. That was really cool.
I actually like the flashbacks I think it's when he's laying in the corner there, getting ready to take the mask off. He remembers all the times he got knocked down and all of the training and all of the stuff. And I love so that whole scene works for me. But yeah, when does he have flashbacks every time he says? I thought he does when he's like cracked ribs and they show him getting his ribs cracked. I swear, right? That happens when he says it. He's like cracked rib, broken hand, and they keep showing how it happened, basically, right? Concussion, 15 concussions or whatever the hell, 5 concussions. I like that scene too.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. And David, what was your favorite scene or moment?
No, it was that turn when he pulls the headgear off and he realizes, the training wheel's got to come off. I need to do this. I got to stop feeling guilty about what I did or didn't do for Damien as a kid. And I got to turn that on and punch this dude in the face. And that's basically, that was where he was like, I got to get over this. And he pulls the headgear off and then the whole thing changes right there. That's my favorite moment. And I got to go number 2 is the moment when the daughter punched that girl who ripped her picture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I knew it. As soon as she took the thing and rips the picture, and I knew that she put up her fist like that. I'm like, oh, she's going to go down. Bam. And I was like, you know, and then they had this conversation and Michael Adonis is like, what do you mean she can't protect herself? He's getting all in the teacher's face, and Tessa's like, stop. You need to quit doing that. We're going to talk to her and stuff. But, she, and then you get that from the daughter. And this is what I liked about Amara's character is she was watching all of his fights. She was watching all of his videos, and she was teaching herself how to fight. So she was already kind of knowing how to do it. And when she doubled up her fists like that and she socked that little girl, Sarah went down.
I loved it. But I want to touch on that because I've talked about this in live streams. I'm sorry, David, but I wanted to piggyback on that. I feel like David's going to punch me. But I love what he said there. And actually, when Creed says what she can't defend herself. So I've had this conversation with so many people, even trolls in streams, being bullied in high school because I was short. I am a believer, and this has bothered people. I've always said this, and I'm sure people have heard me say this. I'm all for sticking up for yourself and beating the shit out of somebody if they're picking on you. Okay. Yeah. I'm all for it. Okay. Because I got bullied and everybody said, turn the other cheek, ignore them. Shit doesn't work. Okay.
No, you keep getting bullied.
You keep getting bullied. Everybody says, well, if you ignore them, they know they can they enjoy it then. You're not going to do anything. The moment I stopped getting bullied was the moment I finally stuck up for myself. I went to this kid's house. His parents were the nicest people in the world too. Imagine that. And I was like, let's go outside. And I said, if you don't quit picking on me, I'm going to beat the shit out of you in front of everybody in school. It didn't matter if he could beat me up or not. I had to do something. I had to stick up for myself. I was sick of it. So I am all for that stuff. Like, don't snap and bring a gun to school. That's not what I'm saying. But sticking up for yourself, like the way Amara did and the way Creed said, why? Like, what's the problem? I'm all for that as a parent. If I ever have a kid, some people are probably watching this thinking that guy's crazy, but I'm going to tell my kid, don't ever start the fight. But if you feel like you need to defend yourself, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, her dad's a pro boxer, so she's learned some things from him.
She was raised in it, so I had no problem with that.
Thank you.
And it's just and I raised 3 kids myself, and I was bullied in high school. When I graduated high school, Bob, I was 5 foot tall and weighed 102 pounds.
Oh,
graduated high school. I didn't get my growth spurt until I was 23. And it wasn't much,
no,
call it a growth spurt, kind of stretching it a little bit.
Yeah. No.
But it was just, sometimes you just gotta defend yourself. And if you defend yourself enough, eventually they'll stop, because every time, you're going to keep getting up and you're going to keep fighting back. And that's what I did. And eventually the bullying stopped. I mean, it wasn't until college for me. I still got bullied. No, senior year, I stopped getting bullied, because that was when I got my black belt.
Oh.
See, my dad. My dad was a Gold Glove boxer when he was like 18, 19. So when I kept getting picked on, I came home and I said, Dad, you got to teach me how to defend myself.
Yeah.
You got to teach me how to fight back because I am getting bullied and I am going to get my ass beat, especially if I try to stick up for myself, And one of my regrets at high school, people are like, what do you mean? I actually wish I got in more fights because, and that sounds weird, but I just wish I stuck up for myself more. I waited too long to do so. And I wish I fought back. I just wish I did. I was worried about suspensions and detentions. And so I didn't want to fight back because of that shit. I wish I fought back. Screw detention or suspension. But my mom was not the same as my dad. My mom didn't want me to fight back, just like Tessa Thompson's character. My dad was all for me sticking up for myself and fighting back like Adonis was.
Yeah.
All right. And Steve, what was your favorite scene and moment?
Well, like I've said, I love the Damian and Felix fight, but I did like no one's mentioned the beach scene when Michael B. Jordan, Creed goes to see Damian after Damian's won the belt, and he's got all of his kind of friends that have guns and stuff, and he's out there in a suit, and then Damian punches him, that whole thing. I thought, wow, that really showed that Creed he was disrespected by this guy that's supposed to be his friend or used to be his friend. And now the guy is completely turned. Now he's got the belts, and it's completely different now. They're not friends anymore. At that point, Yeah, I love that scene.
I love that he doesn't fight back in that scene. He restrains and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna settle this in the ring because he wants to. He turns around at one point, but he gets hit, and you can tell he wants to fight back. I actually appreciate the fact that he restrained himself. And here I am talking about defending yourself.
Wow,
I think there's a time and place, and he was smart too. The guy's got guns around, like you said, and all that stuff. And
he's out of his element there. Damian's got all his friends there. He doesn't
definitely not home field advantage there.
And in 3 years, he hadn't thrown a punch probably, or in a ring at least, or street fighting or anything. So
got soft, yeah.
But that's
that one dude in the beginning when the dude got in his way.
Took
that first guy out. Yeah. Just like, I still got a punch in me. So, but yeah, I liked his restraint there. And I agree with you, Bob. I mean, there's a time and place, for that. And that was not
the place. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he knew he wasn't going to win the battle there. I mean, the guy had a gun. There was no way to win that. No way.
He was going to end up in the hospital or worse.
Yeah.
If
you fight right there, like cops get called, you lose your manager, and all of a sudden, who knows, you end up in jail. So absolutely walk away. Yep. Wakes up the next morning, his wife's there. What happened to your eye? And he still doesn't open up. That's why I love when he finally does open up, because I don't know about you guys if you've ever struggled with that, but it is a thing. In society, we as men are taught, don't show emotions. You can't be vulnerable.
Don't be vulnerable. Yep.
Yeah. Don't be vulnerable. Don't show emotion, and don't let your guard down. So it is so amazing to see the way Creed struggles with that, because it stresses her out. But at the same time, as a man, we understand how hard it could be to open up like that.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to hide the past too. He didn't want to relive those moments. He was so ashamed of those moments, and to where he got to being the champion and having all this stuff, running the gym and being so successful. He doesn't want to go back to how it was in the past with all that. He wanted to forget it, but the past came back to haunt him. I love that story. So good. But
and
then
I'm sorry. Yeah, his mother hid those letters from him too that Damian had been writing him. So that helped him forget about Damian.
I will say one thing. I'm so glad, because I was seriously, I don't know, maybe you guys are going to laugh at me for worrying about this. At one point in the fight, when he looks over at him and he has a flashback, I was worried he was going to let him win that fight. I had concerns that they were going to go down the League of Their Own route, where she drops the ball at the end. I was like, please don't go down a route that.
For the ending fight?
I did not want to see that, and I'm so glad they didn't just go down the route where he's like, I'm going to let him be the heavyweight champion. I'm so glad they didn't go down that route.
I would have loved if Damian won, though. I don't know. I would have loved that, and then going into a Creed 4 there.
Yeah, what has happened?
I don't know. That just makes me not like the ending as much still, because I don't believe Damien would be like cool with it by the end of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Damien was rotting in prison all that time. He had only one goal, be the world champion. And yeah, he got to that, but it was very short lived. I don't feel like, oh, I lost the world championship. We're cool now. It wasn't your fault. Don't worry about it. I don't believe that ending. I
don't
don't
know,
why.
man. Mike, I know you
believe
don't
it.
like the way they become buddy, but like
I
they had
don't
history.
believe
I don't
it.
know
I
if you're
don't believe
boys
that
with
one.
anybody from like high school or before, but like, man, some of especially that they grew up in a tough area, and obviously they had a past, so like it molds you. You become one almost. Like they were close. Like
But Creed broke his heart. I mean, Creed ran away and just
he was a kid too.
forgot about Damien. Like,
I mean, what are you gonna do when you got you're looking at prison or going to jail or whatever? You got cops.
oh yeah, I don't blame Creed at all, but that's why I'm like, I don't feel like Damien would have been cool with it by the end of this. I felt like Damien would have still held on to that grudge. But I don't know. That's just how I think.
Well, I don't think, and if we're looking at Creed 4 with the way this ended, I don't think you're getting a rematch with these two.
We're not, and I hate that.
It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense.
Oh, I hate that. I would have liked there been a little bit more mystery of, is there a chance there's gonna rematch? It doesn't necessarily have to be in Creed 4, but maybe later on. But I would have liked a little bit more mystery. It was kind of a sunshine and rainbow kind of ending, just like, oh, everybody's good now, everybody's happy, la 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 la. I don't know. I like the darker endings. I like the Infinity War snapping
you like
ending.
darker endings. Why did Sylvester Stallone then say, I don't like to have my characters go into the dark place that
that doesn't make sense.
It didn't make sense because this movie wasn't very dark. It didn't end dark, at least. It started dark, sure. But
it probably ended happier than most of the other ones.
Rocky was, sure. I'm saying. So, like, Sylvester Stallone, I love that dude, but his comments after, he sounded like a little kid upset that he didn't get to be in it. And it's
that's what it was. That lily sour grapes. That's
it was like, it was your choice. I'm sure he could have been in it, no problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
He after Creed 2, he said, that's it, I'm done, right? Like, he came out and said, this was my last Creed movie. And I didn't think it was true because I think after Creed 1, he said the same thing. Like, I don't know if I'm coming back for Creed 2. But this time he meant it. But then he ended up being like sour grapes over it.
And the show has to go on. Like, you don't think they're going to make more Creed movies? Like, of course they are. Like,
yeah,
come on.
And maybe that's it. He feels slighted or feels like, wow, they're still going to be successful without me. Like, hey, Sylvester, I love you, but this movie's still going to be successful without you. Like, yes, if you were trying to prove a point, like, it's not going to work. And even the whole, I know he's pissed off. It sounds like they're going to make a spinoff or something. Another one that he got pissed off about, but Drago spinoff it was going to be. And he's pissed off because the producers, it's like, dude, I mean, it sucks, but you sold the rights to it. So,
hey, that's how it goes. When you sell it, it's out of your hands at that point.
Yep.
All right, so let's look at this question here. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but anything you felt the movie was missing? I'll start this one off. I felt a coach was missing. I know Duke was in there, but I don't think that fell, the void of no Rocky. Like, there's always a coach, right? You got Mickey, you got Rocky. I didn't feel like there was really a coach in here. Yeah, you had Duke, but it just wasn't the same level for me. That's kind of what weakened the movie for me. But I don't know. How'd you guys feel like that? Do you think Duke did a
maybe that is
job with taking that over, or
maybe that's a part of the reason why you don't have as much one-on-one in the ring with Duke and Creed, because they don't maybe not have that chemistry. But Duke's definitely not the kind of, he doesn't bring the kind of punch that Rocky did in the corner. And yeah, Rocky's missing. I mean, did I feel like he would need to be there? No, I think that this clearly showed this franchise can go on without Rocky. Was the void there? Honestly, maybe a little bit, but I didn't really feel it. I was so invested in this movie, I didn't miss Sylvester Stallone all that much. And it's not because I'm not a Rocky fan. I love Sylvester Stallone. He's one of my favorites, okay? I grew up watching him in the 80s a ton. Like, I grew up in the 90s, but I watched the 80s movies. But I missed Rocky, yes. And there are certain scenes where, like, he would have called Rocky or Rocky would have been there at the end, whatever it might be. And they didn't do a very good job of explaining where he was. However, I think they did a very good job without him.
Under the circumstances. I just miss those coaching moments because in Creed 1 and Creed 2, you have such powerful moments, like revisiting Creed 2 again, talking about, oh, he broke things in me that never been fixed. Like, oh, you don't think I can defeat him? I'm not dangerous. And then later he comes back, he's like, you're dangerous. You know, like you have those ring moments in the corner that really gets him fired up. I mean, you had that one little thing with Duke saying, hey, it's now time to fight, no longer time to box. But that was really it from Duke. You didn't have as much of those coaching moments. At least that's how I felt.
But there's also no opportunity for that in the final fight because they skipped 9 rounds or whatever.
Yeah. That was another drawback to me. But David, what do you think? Do you feel like some of that stuff was missing or anything else?
Yeah, there were 7 rounds missing in the last fight. That's what I felt. I was like, okay, that fight was way too short with this, with this thing in there. And the more I talk about it, the less I'm liking it. I do appreciate the risk that he took.
Stop talking about it then, because I want you to love Creed.
I
like Creed 3 too. I know I'm being the negative Nancy.
And the one thing that I felt that was missing is when they had that last tie up just before Adonis wins the match, and they were like hugging. Adonis should have said checkmate.
Yeah.
That's what I would have wanted, to where he all of a sudden saw the weak point and was able to, when he did this and you saw the opening, and then they had that. I think that there should have been one last checkmate.
That was cool though. That was a cool moment with that opening.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just something.
And I liked how his head jerked back and he came back and took the other shot. Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty cool knockout. I was on, and I liked that. And I was like, yay. And then of course the audience cheered at the end, but yeah, I think the crowd was missing through that last fight, in Dodger Stadium because of that whole thing that they did. And I think 7 rounds are missing from that last fight. That was probably my biggest takeaway there.
And you know what? I don't know if you all felt this way too, if I'm the only one here. I never felt like Creed was in too much danger. Like I never felt him be super like broken down or just damaged. Like in Creed 2, he gets broken and then he has to be reborn in the desert scenes. In this movie, I never felt that way. Is that just me, or did you guys feel a little bit of that too?
Yeah. Why we don't get to see him get broken in the ring?
Yeah, you don't get to see that because the whole middle of the fight's gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that one punch to the stomach. That was the first time I thought, oh shit. But yeah, otherwise you got 2 rounds of a little bit back and forth, and then there was this huge blank spot, and then you got the last 2 rounds.
Is that when he falls in they're
when he dropped the knee and he was like,
yeah, but that wasn't a cheap shot. Why did they say that was a cheap shot? What was cheap about that? Because everybody was complaining about that shot. Was it too low or what? I know you're not.
No, I thought it was a clean shot. I didn't see.
Yeah, I did too. But I remember they were like, everybody stood up like, what? And I think the coach, I thought in that scene, they complained about it being dirty. I thought. Am I wrong here?
I know. I'd have to watch it again.
I don't remember. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again now. I was gonna see it. But yeah, I don't remember them talking about that being a cheap shot. I do remember there was a shot, there was a low blow like in the early rounds.
Okay, that might be what I'm talking.
And they gave a little hint on that.
Was it like a kidney punch or something like that?
It was like low kidney, or it was even like in the pelvic area. And Michael B. Jordan was like, we just can't get your hands up or something like that. And it was right there at the beginning, and that's when he got his round in the second round. But I might have liked to see a little bit of cheapness too from Damian in that last fight, even if it was in the early round. A little bit, maybe like a little headbutt or something. Little
that would have been great.
Just to kind of how he won against Felix. But it just felt like he was way too overconfident in that match. He thought that he should have Adonis Creed's spot, and that Adonis is a lesser man, and that's kind of, so he thought he could win naturally instead of having to cheat like he did with Felix.
Oh, but another moment I'm just remembering, I don't know how I forgot this because this was a great moment with them on the like news sports segment, and he calls in. I love that scene. That scene was so good, and he's just like trash talking, like let's go, you know, like
he drops that
threw me off
headpiece.
Stephen A.
guard,
Smith, yeah, he's like,
He
yeah, I
drops
want to
the
call in.
earpiece and said,
like,
"What did he say? Set it up, let's go," or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I
man.
wasn't expecting that at all. I love that. That was cool. Yeah. Steve,
He's like, you heard it first, Stephen A. Smith. You heard it first.
Some drama on there. Yeah. Besides the rounds missing, I think there was a scene that's in the trailer, I think, where Damian is sparring with Felix in the ring, and he hits him really hard, and I think they cut that out of the movie. There's a scene where he's like hitting him really hard, and it's like a cheap shot, and while they're sparring, and they took that out. They made Damian look kind of weak a little bit in the beginning, where he's kind of training in the punching bag, kind of light. It looks like he's not going to be too dangerous, and he knew once he got in the ring, he was going to be completely dirty and really dangerous at that point. But and also, like we said, they mentioned Rocky like once in the movie, and then there's a scene where they show all these photos, and Creed's he's got the trophy room, and I can't remember seeing any pictures of Rocky at all.
My buddy today at the theater said, "Where was Rocky?"
Some pictures. I mean, they had the pace.
No picture of Rocky.
Rocky's Stallone. Some they had to pay him to show his likeness or something like that. Maybe they didn't want to put that in there, but I think they should have put some photos of Rocky. Like Rocky kind of meant a little bit of something to Creed and to his dad. It seemed like
I do like seeing the Basement and how successful he became, because he started in an orphanage, and to go from that to where he is, where he must own a multi-million-dollar home. I mean, he's got everything in the world. I like seeing that. I do. I thought that was cool to see, somebody grow up and become successful because of one fight, basically. But hard work. He busted his ass as a fighter.
His wife was successful too. I think he said she makes more money than he did, something like that. And now,
Well, he was still going to be successful even in Creed 1. Like, he was still well off with his mom and all that stuff. He became like super, super successful, I guess you could say. Yeah, even more, yeah. So let's get into this question here. Did this movie meet your expectations? Because I know everybody had some high rankings on this one. Steve, I'll have you start this one off. Did it meet your expectations?
I think it did, except like I said, it'd be nice if Rocky had been kind of mentioned more, and you could have seen him in the movie. I think it's kind of wiping out that history. But it's, as far as like on Letterboxd, I gave this like 3.5 out of 5. I mean, that's a good rating, but it's getting like 88% Rotten Tomatoes score now. So it seems like the critics liked it a little bit more than I did, but I still really love the movie. I took my nephew to see it. He really liked it. So we enjoyed it, seeing that last Saturday. So I think it did. It met my expectations for the most part. Yeah. Certainly.
Speaking of Letterboxd, this isn't a spoiler, but they mentioned Letterboxd in Scream 6, and
they do.
I was like, that is great. They mentioned Letterboxd. Are you kidding me? I was like, seriously, that's just hilarious. And anybody who uses Letterboxd will understand it in the movie.
See, but Bob, now somebody's gonna come at me and be like, Bob spoiled the whole movie on your stream, even though I wouldn't consider it. There's gonna be that one person out there.
Letterboxd.
I can't see Scream 6 now.
Yeah, it's Letterboxd.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, did Creed 3 meet your expectations?
It did. Honestly, it exceeded my expectations, to be honest with you, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't. And going into it, I had my concerns. We talked about it in the first one. I had an 8 out of 10 excitement level. Scream was a 10 out of 10 for me. Right. And I didn't what's up? No. Oh, okay. I thought I heard something, but I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't really predict it. I didn't really know, because I didn't watch 80 trailers of it. So I didn't know how to predict it, and I didn't know how the story would shape out. I didn't know if he was just, I had no idea. So I was very happy with that. And at 0 point, I didn't have to use the washroom. Tonight, I used the washroom twice. So it takes you out of it a little bit. I was so invested and good and not bored with Creed. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like I was predicting most of the story until the ending. The ending is what threw me off for sure on my predictions. But my expectations, I went in super high. I went in with a 10. I thought it was going to be the best movie of the year, my most anticipated film. It did not meet those expectations for me. I would have probably been about an 8 out of 10, which is still really good. I just don't think by the end of the year it's going to be my favorite movie of the year. I don't even know if it's my favorite movie of the year right now. I mean, there's been a couple good movies out there, so. But I still really liked it. Like, I like the directing. I like them doing different stuff with the montages, the fights, the fighting dirty, Damien being one of the best villains of all time. So many things were on point. I just felt some other things were a little bit off and wonky. But David, did this meet your expectations?
Yeah, it just met my expectations. I was expecting 8 out of 10, and with the lowdown scoring, I score out of a possible 100, and I gave it an 84. So I was right there. 8 out of 10. It did just about exactly what I expected. I expected Michael B. Jordan to take some risks, and I expected to like some and not like others, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, it was right there for me, exactly what I expected. But yeah, when we did our pregame, I said I didn't want to do any predictions, and I wanted to come in cold, and that's what I did. And I think that's what I like most about it, is because I didn't tell the story in my head until the first bell. And then I started trying to piece it together as the movie was going along. And I think I enjoy that more that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you were already kind of mentioning it, so we'll just jump in right here with the Rotten Tomato scores. And I think this might have fluctuated like by a percent or two here. But I mean, you're right around that, David, with close to the critics right there, because critics 87%. And I was kind of shocked by this because Creed 2 is a lot lower of a score. So going into Creed 3, I was wondering, why is this one higher? Why is this one different? What do the critics like about this? And I think it is for the artistic moments I didn't necessarily like. I think they probably really liked that fighting sequences because it was way different. It was something really unique. Even though I didn't like it, I could see the critics seeing, oh, that's so artistic. We really appreciate that directing kind of style, that filmmaking technique. And there was a lot of great filmmaking techniques with all the fights too, different angles. So the critic score makes sense for me. David, does that, I mean, well, it lines up with kind of your thoughts. You would say fair enough on that?
Yeah, fair enough on that. Yeah, on Letterboxd, when I actually put it on Letterboxd, I would give it 4 stars. So I think, yeah, it just meets my expectations. Excuse me, I'm about to cough, so give me a minute.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, and that audience score too, that 96%. I mean, that's super high, but I guess the crowds were having a great time with this one. Steve, how do you feel on these scores?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, like I said, I gave it 3.5 out of 5, which is like 7 out of 10, basically. If I do that kind of rating, so it's like a B minus. That's pretty strong. I mean, it could easily be 4 stars. It could be that for sure. But I thought just not having Stallone in the movie, just having much reference to him or anything at all with Rocky, you know, kind of. I knew that probably he wasn't going to be in the movie at all, and there wouldn't be any kind of references to him. But I thought he's a big reason why there's a franchise. So I that kind of disappointed me. But you know, later on, it's possible my score might go to like 4 out of 5. If I see it again, I may actually like it more. So I definitely, sometimes I rate things kind of low, and then after I see them again, they kind of grow on me. You know, so it's possible this movie may go up for me later. You know.
And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned the Stallone part again. You know what? I guess they didn't care that Stallone wasn't in the movie because look at the audience score. You would think maybe the audience would have been, oh, where's Stallone? Where's Rocky? Yeah. That's who we're coming to see. I guess not. They were coming for, you know, Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. That's who they were showing up for, and probably Tessa Thompson as well. So That is such a high audience score to me, though. I'm still a little shocked by that 96%. Does that feel high to anybody? Like,
I didn't go.
I feel that's pretty high.
I didn't go. Are you going to skip me over here?
Oh no, Bob, go for it. Well, I know you're not a big tomato.
No, I'm
fan,
not a Rotten
so
Tomato guy. And I'm glad that the audience gave it a 96% because it tells me that they obviously liked it. But what's cool about that is this movie doesn't have a lot of action. It's very character driven and very dialogue heavy. So when you see something like that, not everybody's a film snob, right? So some people are like, give me more action. I don't want freaking dialogue in a Creed.
That's me too.
So,
I'm like Rocky 4. Give me fighting sequences, montage, music videos.
I mean, some people are spoiled like you with the fighting and all that stuff. I didn't know how I feel about that, but the fact that I love that coming from a Creed movie, I'm usually like you. I'm all for the boxing and stuff like that and training montages. But it's crazy to me that some of my favorite sequences came when Tessa Thompson and Creed were on the screen together. So I appreciate the 96% because I personally loved it. And I can't wait to rewatch it. And Michael B. Jordan's becoming one of my favorites now, and I can't wait to see what he does moving forward.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I think I like the drama moments probably more than the fighting moments overall. I think that last fight really hurt the movie for me and the ending. I think that's what did it for me because I love all the Tessa Thompson stuff, the daughter, the mom, like all of that was working. Damien, the flashbacks, I loved all of that. So, yeah, but I'm still kind of shocked with these scores. I mean, higher than Creed 2? No way. No way it can be higher than Creed 2. But it is very dramatic. It's very reminiscent of Rocky 1, how Rocky 1 is more about the characters and really the drama and the build-up, less so than the fights. Very similar to Creed 3, I feel.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We got a comment in here. Ooh, look it. We got Huck stopping by. Hey, fellas, just wanted to say hi. I will watch more after I watch the movie. Have a great night. Well, thank you, Huck, for stopping by. Yeah, I got to see that movie. All right, let's go to the next question here. Kind of following up on those scores. Got to talk about the box office score here. So what do you think of the domestic box office opening weekend result?
I said 50 to 60 million.
You got it right, Bob. You were the winner of the prediction on that one. How are you feeling, Bob, with that? You were right on the money.
I am very happy it was successful, and I love seeing that out of a directorial debut from Michael B. Jordan too, and without Sylvester Stallone. Maybe Stallone brings it up to 70 million. I don't know, but it's cool to see that it was successful without Stallone. And I love Stallone once again, but it's cool to see that. I'm very happy for it. And there needs to be a storyline that fits. Don't rush it, studio. You know what I mean? But for a fourth one, but because they already announced Scream 7, before the movie even came out. So I don't like to see that because Scream, they announced it before the movie came out. So studio rushing it. Sometimes you're like, all of a sudden are like, get a script together, let's go. And you might rush that script and then the movie and everything like that. So I get it. Money talks and these studios want to make money and cash in while the iron's hot. But then sometimes your movie suffers. So I hope they don't rush out a Creed 4. And I hope, the directors and writers are like, hey, let us take our time to make a good movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they're definitely making a movie with this kind of box office results. I mean, I'm still shocked by this because I think Creed 2, wasn't that about 35 million around their opening weekend? I mean, this is...
What was the budget? You said 70 million for this or something?
I think it was like 75 million around that range.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already almost made... It's close to that. And worldwide, it made, what, 100 something million opening weekend? So... Give it another week or two, you're going to be making tons of profit with this movie. So
yeah, and
they're doing a Creed 4. No way they're not.
Yeah, but I just don't. I hope they don't say tomorrow Creed 4 comes out May 16th of 2024. Like, don't put a release date on it. You can confirm a Creed 4, but let them work on a script. Let Ryan Coogler write another script because he did a great job.
Oh yeah.
Don't they say the movie has to make like 3 or 4 times its budget to be able to make its money
back?
Is
that worldwide too? Is that what they say?
Yeah, unless it's something that's not heavily has heavy trailers and like we saw during the COVID era with movies kept getting delayed and they kept showing more trailers and
I don't believe in numbers. Like I love box office numbers. I am a stats guy and stuff, but I don't believe in studios like looking at numbers. Sometimes like this is a bad example, but like that After franchise that like that did terrible in theaters, and then all of a sudden the studio didn't want to pick it up, so I Vertical Entertainment picked it up. So like, and sometimes stuff doesn't do successful, but all of a sudden 15 years later look at Scream 4. That wasn't successful, so they didn't do a Scream 5 and 6, unfortunately. Yeah. But then all of a sudden they said, hey, let's, 10 years later, let's take another shot at it. So when stuff like this, but this is successful, so I can't imagine you don't get another one. Mike's over there laughing at me because I'm talking about Scream.
No, because Scream 4, you guys know Scream 4 is my least favorite out of Scream.
But it wasn't successful. It made like 50, 49
I can understand why, yes.
Shut up.
All right, let's go to Steve. Did you say what you think of these box office numbers right here? It's raking in the dough with this one.
Yeah, I should have said it before. I said like 100 million. I should have said that worldwide. I don't know. But like I said, I'm probably more pre-COVID numbers, but even Rocky 2 was, or Creed 2 was before COVID. It was like 2018, something like that. So even I should have known that, especially without Stallone, it wasn't going to do as well. So but I think, like I said, it's probably the best opening weekend that a Creed movie's had. I don't know about Rocky.
By far, yeah.
So yeah, it's done well, but like I said, I think sometimes a movie has to make a lot more money over its budget to be able to make its money back, depending on the marketing dollars that they spent on it. Sometimes like 3 times the budget.
3 times the production budget is what they want. Yeah.
Yeah, so it still has some time. And this summer it's going to be hard for movies to get legs like that because there's so many great movies coming out that it's hard.
Especially March. March is like movie madness.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of other movies to see, and you may only see Creed 3 one time, possibly.
John Wick.
Yeah, like normally, if it was like a normal release time, I would go back and see Creed 3 at least another time in theaters, maybe a third time. But there's just no time with the movies that are stacked every weekend. Like even this weekend, you got Scream 6, but you also have 65, where maybe I would go back a second time to see Creed 3 again. I'm like, well, no, I do want to see 65, so I'm going to see that instead of seeing Creed 3 again.
And
it's just like, it's just like there's no time for repeat viewing. So I'm glad it made a ton of money opening weekend. It definitely needed that. So it did good there. David, what do you think of these box office numbers?
Good numbers. I think it was good. Yeah, my numbers were worldwide. That's what I was thinking. So I was thinking over 100 million worldwide, and it did 105. So I was happy about that. It's at 114 million right now worldwide. So I think global numbers are going to be good. I don't think it's going to hit what I want. But I think people were desperate for something that's not MCU or Fast and the Furious. So to get Creed 3, I think that's why it opened really well.
Because it's a franchise movie, so it's like
I like that he said desperate for something that's not MCU, but at the same time, I feel like people are desperate for MCU.
People are jonesing for MCU, but just as much as a lot of people that are off the bandwagon.
I love seeing the success of this because I'm so fucking sick of Disney and Marvel and all that bullshit. I am rooting every year, and I see them, so I'm like part of the problem. But I want Disney to flop every year. I want the Marvel movies to finally and it's not going to happen. It'll never happen. But
not with me going to see everyone twice.
I do want to see Marvel start to be like, why are our numbers failing? I would love to see that. Like, why are Marvel movies not making?
Well, they did feel that a little bit with Ant-Man 3's drop after the opening weekend. So I think they will
nosedive after that first weekend.
And it didn't get good reviews. And guess what? Nobody liked Eternals and all these other movies. They're quickly getting worse and worse.
Right.
All right, so let's get back to Creed. The whole Disney rant is for another stream, Bob. Focus up. I'm just joking.
I am always that topic, so get used to it, Mike.
No worries. Okay. Last question here, and then we'll kind of finish up with a little bit of closing out and promoting. But question 10, where do the Creed movies go from here? So to me, what I'm thinking is it's kind of going down the path of the Rocky movies. I feel like we will get a fourth one with Creed again somehow, but I think they're really setting up the daughter to maybe take over this franchise in the future. We saw a lot of the daughter in here doing all the training. So I could see by a Creed 5, Adonis Creed is now the coach and is training the daughter, and now the daughter is the new boxer. I thought that would be a really cool something different kind of spin on it with the daughter being the boxer. I would not mind that at all, but that's just my guesses because my dream was crushed with not being a Creed 4 with another Damien fight. That's what I really wanted to happen, but with this ending,
how do you,
no way that's happening.
When I think of heavyweight champions and all that stuff, I never see a woman, even in real life. Like are there female boxing leagues like that?
Oh, there's definitely female boxing
it
out
definitely
there.
would be a different route because it's not like, I don't see too many professional. I see women fighters, yes, but not like a heavyweight champion type of belt for it as far as female boxers go. So that would be an interesting way to go. And you would definitely have to fast forward 4, 5, 6 years, even Creed 4. I mean, we're talking 10 years for Creed 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, they did fast forward a lot in this movie. Like, the daughter went from a baby to being, what, like
so 6, 7 years old?
I don't know.
8 years old, I would assume. Steve, you got kids?
Yeah.
So how old was she?
Well, no, I don't have any kids, so not that I know of it. I may have one possibly, but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, as far as female boxing movies, $1 Million Baby comes to mind. That's really kind of a sad kind of boxing kind of movie where Clint Eastwood, that whole thing. But yeah, usually you don't see a lot of female boxers. Yeah,
and even that's not like a professional heavyweight bout or anything like that, because Rocky's always been about professional heavyweight fights. So, and same with Creed now. So you go down the route of the female. I think that his daughter, it's like, how do you got to do something with it to make it professional for sure.
Oh yeah, it would definitely change it up though. It would definitely be something different.
I don't know if they go down that route. I guess I'm just gonna jump in because I'm already here. I don't know if they get a guy, Creed ends up, becomes a mentor and Creed's a mentor to somebody. I don't know if they're going to go down that route. Maybe they do the woman route. I have no problems with them not being sexist here or something like that, because I freaking loved his daughter. I thought she was great. Like I said, all three of them on the screen at the same time was great. So I'll take it. I'll take something different. And at this point, you fast forwarding all these years, I don't know if you could have Creed fighting again in Creed 4. Yeah. I mean, can you? Maybe if it's, what do you say? I'm back. He's back. He came out of retirement and he enjoys fighting again. But he's pushing. They said in the movie, what, 36 or 30 or something? He is 35.
That's what I'm saying. There can only be a limit to how many more Creed movies with him actually being the main boxer. That's why I think you can only maybe get one more, a Creed 4 with him doing it somehow, kind of like Rocky 4 did with bringing it back.
Yeah, you can't fast forward that unless you go down the Rocky Balboa route, and it's like you're just going to copy that then. So I don't think they're going to do anything like that anyways. So yeah, I think at some point, I don't know, what, you have Creed fight somebody as an expedition fight, and the person wins, and he ends up mentoring that kid. Like, what the heck?
Because how many Creed movies can you have? I mean, realistically, at this point, like, is he going to keep retiring, come back out of retirement?
Here's the thing, Mike. How many can you do? As long as that box office number keeps showing, that's how many you'll do. Just like Marvel, just like Scream, just like Fast and Furious. As long as it's making money, they'll keep making that.
But that's why I think they brought in the daughter. Like, I really think they gave the daughter a lot of screen time in here for us to kind of get used to that and to have that set up in a couple movies. But
well, he definitely trains her. Yeah, she jumps in that ring and he's messing with her and stuff. And it seems like the mother, Tessa Thompson, kind of takes on that at the end where she's like, okay, go ahead. I'm going to, she's it's one of those things. If you keep blocking your daughter from doing something, your son, right, your kid, they're going to find a way. She clearly wanted to learn how to fight. And at some point, I feel like the tables turn on her too, where she's like, she wants to learn how to fight. Maybe it's smart to let her learn how to defend herself. It's never, in my opinion, it's never a bad thing to teach your kid how to defend themselves. I'm not saying promote her fighting. Don't sit there and say, okay, I'm teaching you how to fight so you can beat the shit out of people. No, but I think it's a good thing to teach her how to defend herself. And I could see where Mike's coming from. I can see that happening.
And that's kind of what Rocky 5 did. Like, I felt those Rocky 5 there with, you know, him training his kid in Rocky 5 and all of that. I think that could parallel it. David, what do you think? Where do they go from here with the Creed movies?
Well, it's interesting because, yeah, when they get all buddy at the end with Damien, I'm thinking for 4, because they don't say that he's going to retire. So he comes out of retirement, fights Damien, takes the belt again. So now he's champion. So how far is that going to go? Somebody's going to come and either knock him off his throne or he's going to retire again. And I was hoping that it was going to go the Drago route, where Drago was going to be friends and help him out of a situation, but they kind of already did that here. So if he's all buddy with Damien, I'm thinking in 4, there's going to be some other meat hook that is going to come in and beat the crap out of Adonis, and Damien is going to get him through it.
It could be.
So Damien kind of steps into that like coaching role a little bit.
Yeah, he steps into that coaching role, that Rocky position, where he's the one that inspires him, and gets him into the thing. Because Jonathan Majors could definitely pull that off.
I could see it, and I think people love Jonathan Majors. You know, his fan favorite immediately. He's a force to be reckoned with his skill set and acting ability. And I think with the success of this, you have to find a way to bring him back. So I could see. I actually probably see that happening, something along those lines, more than Mike. I almost in a way was like, I could see him handing over the reins to, but they're both old, you know, like even I was going to say, even if Damien became the, you know, he said, okay, it's your time now. No, his father time to him too, man. He's old, you know, they can fight, but they're not in their prime anymore, you know? And so, I
think he's supposed to be 3 or 4 years older, possibly.
Steve, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I do kind of like David's idea. I don't know if if Jonathan Majors has done any sequels yet, but you know, maybe that's why they kind of ended his storyline at the end of this one. But if he did come back, I could see something like that where they're friends again. It doesn't seem like they're enemies now, so it does seem like he could be a trainer, because he is supposed to be like 3 or 4 years older than Creed. Even though in real life, like I said, Michael B. Jordan is like 36 in real life, and Jonathan Majors is like 33, but in the movie they're supposed to be flipped, and Jonathan Majors is supposed to be like kind of like his big brother, kind of his best friend that's a little bit older, and like I said, he's a little bit older in the movie, but so I could see that possibly where you might train him if they do a Creed 4 possibly.
Yeah, but that feels like so many people in Creed's corner them, because you still got Drago hanging around, right? They're still friends and good buddies. Yeah. So then you got Drago, you got Damien. If Duke's still there, you got Duke there. Like, that's a lot of people in that kind of, I don't know, coaching, mentor, buddy role. That's why I want some villains. Like, we need more like villains that stay villains, like villains from beginning to the end. Like, we need a villain. Like, even Apollo Creed was a villain for, well, the antagonist for 2 movies, you know, so we still had that, but
does Clubber Lang have any grandchildren or anything that might come?
I know, right?
Clubber Lang needs to come in with a, call him Mr. S or something, and have him come in and
that would be great to see Mr. T and
his grandkid,
have his grandkid come in and or
settle.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Milo Ventimiglia, who was the son in Rocky Balboa. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I mean, he's getting there in years too, but I wouldn't mind seeing him fight. maybe
Yeah, but he was never really a fighter, though, right?
You know, give him the training and maybe
yeah, he was the business guy. He was
the
office worker.
He looked just like Stallone, though. He looked like a younger version of.
But he did get that training in Rocky 5, so maybe he can bring it back.
It'd be interesting to have something connected to Rocky become the villain in Creed.
That works perfect. David, you hit it on the mark. We got Rocky back as the villain. So Rocky is like the bad coach, right? The antagonist coach. You got his kid as the boxer going against now Adonis's Creed's kid. Well, it wouldn't work because it's a daughter. Never mind. That idea doesn't work, but I don't know. Expedition. Oh, yeah, an expedition kind of match right there. They could they do that? I don't know if that would work. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough to see where they're gonna go from here. It's all over.
And then Creed 5 is Creed goes real steel and takes over a robot, and they do robot boxing with Creed. That's what I'm thinking.
Virtual fights and stuff like that. That will work. All right. Well, I think we did a good job kind of going into spoilers here, talking about this movie inside and out. So we'll kind of go into just closing out our channels now. If you have anything coming up, anything you want to promote, let people know where they can follow you. Of course, all those links are in the description below. So, David, go ahead and take it away.
All right, Mike, first of all, thanks so much for having me on again. This post game was a lot of fun. You guys get a chance, like and subscribe. Definitely follow Steve and Bob because they're awesome. And I know Tales from the Shelf didn't make it tonight, but give him a follow as well. I think his link is also in there. As far as the 4K lowdown, we do a live show called By the Numbers on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, where we talk about new releases. And coming up next week, we're going to actually look at and score Creed 3, along with Women Talking and a couple other movies. And that's myself and Turner Fan 77. We do that. And then, of course, unboxings and stuff that comes on Friday or Saturdays, where I do unboxings, town hall meetings. And then we also have a top 10 of movies starting with the letter U coming up next Thursday. So check that out, too.
All right. And Steve, what do we got going on?
Yeah, like I said, I'm Excelsior movie reviews. My next video is going to be my Oscar predictions. Probably have that out by Saturday. That's going to be tough. There's some categories that are really hard to pick on that. But I do a lot of Criterion, hauls, and I'm still waiting for the flash sale to happen. I've been told it's going to happen any time now, but it still hasn't. I love doing digital code giveaways. Like I said, I love that where people kind of sign up for digital codes, and then I do like a live stream where I spin a wheel and I give the winners out. I used to do like the digital codes up and just first come first serve, and people thought that was kind of unfair, so I kind of made it kind of a game. And I love doing live streams, and like I said, I have a music channel called Excelsior Music Reviews. My channel is really blowing up right now, so it takes a lot of my time, but I still love movies. I still love doing live streams as well. So that's Mike. I appreciate having me on again this week, and love talking about Creed 3. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you all for being on here. And of course, we got Michael Bob Jordan here. So, Bob, what do we got? I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, no, geez. As far as streams go, yeah, I've actually got a night off Monday, finally. But Tuesday I've got a Remembering Kelly Preston stream. Wednesday I'll be nominating or electing Tim into the Hall of Fame stream that I'm doing. So that'll be fun. I can't wait for that. And Thursday I'm doing like a pre-recorded stream with Nathan Jones. And then the week after that is the Scream stream. And I think like a Paul Walker stream I've got coming up, top 5, and some other stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff. And then in April, I've got a crap ton of stuff too coming up. So it doesn't slow down.
All right. And once again, everybody, their links are in the description below. So go ahead, give them a follow and watch their amazing video content. And for my channel, of course, always tons of stuff going on. So the next few streams, let me just go over those real quick. And actually, I got a little teaser for one of the streams I'm going to be on. So I'll play a little video clip here in a minute. But next up, we're going to be doing an after party for the Oscars. So on Sunday, I'm probably going to set it to midnight. Actually, David, the 4K Lowdown, said just right before here, he's going to join in on that. And that's an invitation to everybody else out there. If you want to join in on that Oscar after party, we're just going to be talking our thoughts on some of the winners, go over if anybody gets slapped attacked this time, any fun stuff like that. If anybody wants to be a part of that, that's watching the Oscars, just hit me up on Instagram, let me know, and we'll definitely get you into the after party after that. And then next, we got, the Popular Award Show, which is on Monday. So we're going to be recognizing all the popular genres that the Oscars don't, like horror, action, comedy, superhero movies, you name it. We're going to be giving out trophies for those movies. So if you have not yet voted, go and vote for your favorite movies in my community tab. Just go there. You have a bunch of categories. Click your favorites, and that's going to give the results for who's actually going to win those trophies on Monday night. And then after that, Wednesday, Shazam 2 pregame. And then after that, Monday is going to be before that, Sunday, I'm going to play a clip for that in a minute right here. It's going to be a collector's club on Huck's channel, which I'll show you the little teaser for that. But then Monday will be the Scream 6 post-game show. So a lot going on. So make sure you're subbed up. Make sure you click that notification bell. But before we kind of close out and say goodbye, check out this little teaser right here.
Huck is just a mastermind with editing.
Oh yeah. Hey, we had to come after the meta evolution right there, Bob. We're coming for you with the collectors club.
You'll get taken down. Don't Tony, don't do it.
Hey, we're in a faction battle now, so it's time to go. It's gonna be a brawl. We're gonna get the Rat Pack going too with that. It's gonna be like a triple threat battle. But there we go, everybody. That's what I have for you all tonight. Once again, thank you for joining in, and just have a good time tonight. Go watch Scream 6. Go watch some good movies. Go watch Creed 3 if you haven't already. You probably did if you're watching this, but if not, go check it out now. But everybody have a great night and make every day a movie day.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody.